So step 1 is to cleanse the skin using Waxperts cleanser on a damp cotton pad. When cleansing the skin, we're looking out for any cuts, abrasions, any areas of skin dryness, which is generally around the knee area, any bruising, or just anything that we think we might need to avoid when carrying out a strip waxing treatment. So we're just cleansing the full area, making sure we're getting to the inside of the leg, making sure we're brushing those hairs up. This client's leg hair is quite light, so we're just trying to make those hairs brush up away from the skin. So if needed, we can ask our clients to pop her leg out so we can get to the inside, and pop her leg in so we can get to the outside to make sure the area is thoroughly cleansed. When finished, we're going to get some small couch roll and we're going to tissue off any excess moisture that may be left from applying the cleanser. So when doing a strip wax treatment, we need to make sure that there's no moisture left on the skin. And we can do this by running our hand up over the leg itself. So if our hand glides up the leg, that's perfect. That means that there's no moisture left on the skin. If our hand drags, that's an indication that there's too much moisture left on the skin, and this can lead to skin bruising, skin lifting. So really tissuing off any of that moisture that may be left from applying your cleanser. When you're ready to begin, you ask your client to pop her leg out, and we're going to start with the inside of the leg and making sure her foot is out so we can get down around the ankle. So we're going to start with the inside out technique. So leaving some paper strips in between the client's feet so they're available when we need them. So starting on the inside of the leg, get a decent amount of wax on your spatula, holding your spatula back and applying it with the direction of the hair growth. Making sure not to overlap any of your wax patch because we want this wax to be applied super thin. The thinner the wax is applied, the less pull and tug there will be on your client's skin. So once we've applied this section, we're going to remove it instantly. So folding back your paper strip so you have more control over removal, place your strip on, good firm pressure, remove. So a good rub, remove. One firm rub, remove. And we're going to start at the bottom and work our way right up to the top. So one firm rub, remove. You can just see how it glides off nice and easily. Because it's applied so thin, you shouldn't have strings everywhere and it shouldn't be messy wax. It's very clean and very quick. So now these hairs are coming at an angle, so we're placing our strip at an angle and removing against those hairs. So one firm rub, remove. Always stretching the skin during removal. So when you find that you have a build-up of wax on your strip, you can fold it over and then use the opposite side. So we're going to start with the inside of the knee now. So always do the full inside of the leg before you move to the centre. So again, slightly tilting your spatula back to get that super thin application, applying it with the direction of the hair growth and not overlapping your wax patch. Remember, we want it to look as see-through on application as possible. We can use any excess of the wax to remove any of the sparser hairs that were left behind. So ready to remove. A firm rub, stretch and remove. One firm rub, stretch and remove. So when removing from this section here, the skin is that little bit thinner. So we want to use a new piece of our paper strip each time and really stretching the skin. Now we can relax the leg and we're ready to move on into the centre. So again, getting a nice amount of wax on your spatula, holding your spatula back, and we're going to apply it with the hair growth. So nice thin application. Remember not to overlap your wax. And remove instantly. So folding our tab back on our paper strip, one firm rub, remove. So one firm rub, stretch and remove. So always removing a nice small section so we've more control over our removal. This will also help us get cleaner removal and help us not break the hairs during removal with strip wax. So nice small sections, always working up the leg. Again, we can fold over our tab and use the clean side of our paper strip. So now we're going to ask our client to bend her leg in so we have access to the outside of the leg. So again, getting a nice amount of wax on our spatula, holding our spatula to the side and applying our wax coming down with the hair growth. So if the hair is coming in at a curve, apply in at a curve. If it's applying straight down, apply straight down. Always following the direction of the hair growth. Now we're ready to remove. So again, one firm rub, stretch and remove. So we want to make sure that our removal is nice and parallel to the skin. So we're not pulling our paper strip out to the air. This could cause skin lifting. So nice and parallel to the skin. Stretch the skin. So one firm rub. So see, we're working in small sections up the leg. This will help it be a little bit more comfortable for our clients as well. So using a new piece of our paper strip for the back of the knee, because we know the skin is thinner there, so we want as little pull on that area as possible. So now we're ready to do the knee and the foot. Just applying a very small amount of oil, the Waxperts Pre-Wax oil, onto the knee and the toes, because this client's feet are very cold, so the wax could stick easily, and she has a little bit of dryness in the centre of her knee. So by applying a very small amount of the Waxperts Pre-Oil, this will help prevent the wax from sticking. So applying our wax around both sides of the knee and then coming down into the centre. So trying to get our wax on as thin as possible. So now removal. So one firm rub, stretch and remove. So remember, anytime we apply our wax, we remove it straight away. The reason we do that is because Waxperts strip wax is applied super thin. So if the client did have cold legs or dry skin, the wax could start to set into their skin and it'd be more difficult to remove if you cover the full leg. So always, whatever you apply, you remove it straight away. So now we can use the other side there. for the outside of the knee. Okay, and then we're just doing the centre of the knee to finish that off. So again, not overlapping our patches. Remember, we want Waxperts Strip Wax to look as see-through as it possibly can. It shouldn't be like a dark colour. It should always be very see-through. So again, a firm rub and remove. So again, one firm rub, remove. So again, using a new piece, as your strip starts to build up, we can use a new piece of our paper strip. If there's a lot of wax on your paper strip and you're still using it, it can cause more pull on the skin. So now we can do the toes. So using a small spatula, applying it nice and thin, and doing each toe that has hair on it. So we're going to use a new piece of our paper strip for each toe. So one firm rub and pull back. Now using the next piece of our paper strip, one firm rub and pull back. This will help the wax not stick to that area. So now that leg's done, we can move on to the opposite side. So getting the client to pop her leg out, and again using the inside out technique. So placing our wax on and coming in, or coming down I should say, against the hair. You can see we're kind of coming in at a curve here because the hairs are coming in at a curve. So folding our paper strip back so we have more control, one firm rub, stretch and remove. And again, starting at the bottom of the leg and working our way up, removing in nice small manageable size sections. More comfortable for the client and we're getting cleaner results. So now there's a build up there, so we're going to use a new piece of our paper strip. So now we can move on to the inside of the knee. So again, nice thin application, not overlapping our wax. So making sure it's on as thin as possible. Just smoothing out any of the lines that might be a little bit thicker, because we don't want any extra pull on those areas. So ready for removal, one firm pull and remove. So one firm rub, remove. So just doing a small line here before we move into the centre. Nice thin application, applying it with the hair growth. Remember, with strip wax, you don't want to overlap or reapply to an area that's been waxed. It's okay to do like a small little tiny little patch here and there if there's 1 or 2 hairs, but you don't want to keep overlapping on the skin that you've just waxed. So now we can relax the leg. So we're just going to place a small amount of the pre-wax oil over this abrasion. We can see that it is healing well, but we just want to make sure that we protect it. By placing some oil onto like a cut that's just about healed, if you do wax over it, it will help protect it so it won't lift the scab or anything off. So this one is just almost healed, so that's why we're okay to do that. However, if it was a newer abrasion or a cut, I would totally recommend waxing around the area. Don't wax over it. So applying our wax nice and thinly down. So 1 firm rub, stretch and remove. Nice firm rub and remove. So you can see we're removing it nice and firmly. You can see there it's perfectly still intact. We haven't removed the scab, and that's because we had the oil to protect the skin. It didn't make the client's skin bleed or anything like that. So that's why it's important to make sure that you do apply a generous amount of oil on, and it's on an abrasion that is almost healed, not on a new one. So now we're moving on to the outside of the leg. Again, getting a nice amount of product on your spatula, holding your spatula slightly tilted back and bringing it down with the hair growth. So again, we're always remembering not to overlap our wax as best we can. Keep it as thin and as see-through as possible. So getting our paper strip, folding over our tab and removing in small, manageable size sections. So again, 1 firm rub, stretch and remove. And again, move around the bed if you need to, if you feel like you have a better stretch. So folding over that piece there, you can see some dead skin cells, and using a new piece now to continue up the leg. So again, 1 firm rub, stretch and remove. So now doing the outside of the knee. So a nice firm rub to make sure that we're removing all of the wax. If we're quite light, when you remove, you might find that there's lots of wax left behind. So that's why it's important to do 1 firm rub and then remove. Then always removing in smaller bits around these more delicate areas. So then our last 2 sections are always the knee and the foot. So remember, we did the inside out technique, and then the knee and the foot are at the end. So popping a little bit of the pre-wax oil onto the knee and toes. Again, the toes are really cold and this client has a bit of dryness in the centre of her knee. So I just don't want the wax to stick during removal. So this will help it remove nice and easily. So nice thin application. Okay, and then removing slightly at an angle because we applied coming in at a curve. So always we apply with the hair growth and we remove against with strip wax. So now we're just using the clean side of our paper strip. It will all vary the amount of build-up that you get on your paper strip, depending on how dry the client's skin is. If you find that there's a lot of dead skin cells, you'll find that there's more of a build-up on your strip. If the client has fake tan on, there will be even more of a build-up on your paper strip. So there's just a couple of little hairs left there. So we're just getting a very small amount of wax with a smaller spatula and just applying it to that area. So this client's skin is in perfect condition, so we're happy to apply the small amount of wax just on those little particular areas to get the last couple of hairs, rather than trying to tweeze a lot of hair out. And now onto the toe. So again, just applying the wax to the toes that you want to remove the hair from. And always using a fresh piece of your paper strip for these areas because the toes are cold here. So by using a new piece of your paper strip, you'll get cleaner removal and easier removal. It won't stick. Now we can relax the leg down. And we're going to cool down the skin with some Waxperts cleanser on a damp cotton pad. So just cleansing over the area that we've just waxed. And making sure that there's no sticky residue left on the skin. So if so, fold a bit of paper strip over and just blot it onto those sticky areas to make sure you remove them all. We're now going to apply our Waxperts After Wax oil to this area. So applying a nice amount to the centre of the leg, making sure not to apply it too far out to the outside of the leg because we don't want it to steep over to the back because we haven't done that area yet. And we don't want it to act as a barrier for removal when we do turn the client over. So now when we go on to the backs of the legs, our step again is to cleanse the skin. So our first step is to cleanse the skin with Waxperts cleanser on a damp cotton pad. And really tissue off any of that excess moisture. So using some of your small couch roll, tissue off any of that excess moisture, making sure that there's none left on the skin. Now you can see these hairs are coming in at an angle, so we're going to apply with those hairs. So again, holding our spatula slightly tilted back, applying it super thin with good pressure, applying it with the direction of those hairs. And remember, whatever we apply, we're going to remove it straight away. We're always going to avoid this area here because the skin is too thin, so we don't need to apply our wax directly over that area. So stretch the skin and remove. So one firm rub, stretch and remove. So you can see how it just glides off. And now we can do our last little section here. So again, following with the hair, applying it nice and thin, not overlapping our patches. And we're going to ask the client to pop her foot out so we can stretch the back of the ankle here. So one firm rub, stretch and remove. So now we can relax that leg and move on to the next. So again, we're just assessing the area, checking out what way the hair is growing. So we're applying it in towards the bed. Again, getting that wax on lovely and thin, not overlapping our wax at all. And applying it with the direction of the hair growth. Smoothing out any sections if needed. Now for removal. So again, folding over your paper strip, one firm rub, stretch and remove. Okay, and now we can finish off our last little section. So you can see the dead skin cells in there, so let's fold that over. We can use a new piece of our paper strip then. So again, applying it with the hair growth, nice and thin. Making sure to smooth out any areas if needed. And just doing any little tidy up patches again if needed. So again, just get the client to stretch her foot out. And she can relax now. So to finish the treatment, getting 2 fresh cotton pads and putting some cleanser onto them, cleansing over the full area, really cooling down the skin, and doing the same on the opposite leg. And then we can apply some of the Waxperts After Wax oil. So this is lovely, it has lavender in it, so it really calm and soothe the skin post wax and gives a nice sheen to the legs. So the same on the opposite side. So you can see this client's skin is in perfect condition because of the wax being applied so thinly and removed in smaller sections. And then to finish, we can just tissue off the excess. And we're all done.